Before I flew to Portugal, I was in New York City for a week with about 4 to 5 hours of sleep each night. If you watched my New York vlogs, you might remember that my sleep deprivation ended up making me mix up my flight time to Portugal and miss my flight. I had to take an hour-long bus to another airport to catch another flight to Portugal. This vlog picks up where we left off from there. Despite me getting my time zones and the Airbnb address wrong, I managed to arrive to the right Airbnb with the last 2 of my remaining brain cells. Hello, I have finally made it to Lisbon. It's a fucking miracle that happened. I have no idea how I made it in one piece since it seemed like everything pointed the opposite direction. I legit was considering just giving up and going home when the whole airplane mishap happened. It's a bit surreal now to be here, even though it sounds very cliche to say that, but I think it feels surreal in the sense where this is the first time I'm kind of traveling on my own. I felt very anxious about getting to this trip for obvious reasons because I kept on expecting so many things to go wrong. Anything could fucking happen at this point based on these past few vlogs. But I think once I landed, my brain and my body kind of just kicked into survival mode. Now I have to rush over to some of the touristy places that I've been meaning to go to. I'm gonna walk over to Jeronimos Monastery. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And then after that, I am gonna transport to Belem Tower. And then after that, I am gonna go to the central area to meet up with Liliana and Isabel. They had found me through my channel and they are avid readers as well. And they live in Lisbon, so they reached out to me to hang out. We are gonna get dinner together and they are going to educate this dumb American and it's gonna be a good time and nobody will die, hopefully. Also, after I finished The Gilded Wolves, my plane took off and I was able to start The Astonishing Color of After by Emily XR Pan. I thought it might be fitting to read it while I'm on my plane ride to Lisbon because the main character goes on an international trip to kind of discover herself, I guess. Well, she's currently grieving over her mother who committed suicide. She's dealing with some, just depression things. And I just thought there might be some parallels that I might discover while reading this book to my own international trip. I think I'm about like 200 pages in. I got through it fairly quickly, but that's because the writing is very simplistic. I actually teared up like on page 2 when I read about a character who committed suicide. It makes me sad because I understand how they got to that point. Seeing the way that other people are affected, whether it's like people that I know or characters that I'm reading, that makes it even more sad. It sheds light to the reality that when you do kill yourself, it is very hard and impactful on other people in your life, and it kind of changes their lives too. It's the most authentic part of the book, in my opinion. I can expand more on it when I read more of the book and after I go walk over to the attractions that I'm gonna see. So I will bring this camera along and I will show you all the pretty things that I will see. So see you later.
Joke at a time like this. I know why, 'cause this is what you wanted. don't lie in my bed. Don't listen to the references to things you might have actually said. 'Cause those are my words, not yours. As far as I'm concerned, it could have been a lot worse. I wasn't trying to avoid the confrontation. March into the war to serve for defeat. They were younger than me. Guns poke through the trees, death on a limb. They were aiming at him, and when the bullets came, he didn't duck. He wrapped her pantyhose around his neck, and he could feel the magic working, keeping him from harm, away to someplace mystical and warm. His lucky charm. He got a car, no cover at all. He breathed in her scent, not even a scratch. He didn't die when he stepped on a mine. They were violet and soft.
Hello, I just got back from hanging out. I think it's so crazy to comprehend how BookTube has allowed me to meet so many different kinds of people, because whenever I do go to a new place, there is bound to be someone from BookTube, whether they are a booktuber or a watcher. It's just cool that the internet can connect people like that. So that's just my cheesy way of saying the internet can sometimes do good sometimes. Even though I was and am still extremely tired, it was a nice way to end the night feeling like a normal person instead of a hot mess. I tried my very best to stay awake and be engaging and responsive to them even though I was very tired. There were many times throughout the day where I seriously wondered if I was going to collapse at any minute. I don't know if I'm just being a little bitch, but I think it's clear that I definitely need a good amount of sleep. That is what I plan on doing after I shower. Hopefully. Actually, I don't know. I still need to figure out my itinerary for tomorrow because I want to squeeze in a few things, but I don't know if I'll have time to do it, so that might require me to wake up early. Why do I do this to myself? Maybe one day I will properly give myself a vacation, but I don't think this week is going to be that week because it's just going to be very busy. And I don't know why I do this to myself. I feel like whenever I travel, I need to make the most of it and I need to be as busy and productive as possible because I spent the money to get here and I'm making the effort to get here. So why not do all there is to do? I probably am making it very counterproductive for a vacation since I'm not actually relaxing. That's just how my brain operates. There are a few observations that I wanted to make about today. First of all, Lisbon is hot as balls. Secondly, it seems like I am severely allergic to Lisbon because I keep on sneezing and sniffling my nose and I can't even breathe through my nose. I felt so congested throughout today. I was basically breathing through my mouth. I don't want to complain the whole time, so I do want to say that when I first arrived to the airport, I was trying to buy one of those transportation passes that lets you recharge euros onto your card so you can use it however many times you want. Some guy came up to me and he offered me his card that had I guess like €4 loaded into it, which is basically about 3 trips worth that I was able to use today. It was so nice of him to give me his card. I don't know why he did it. Maybe he just saw me staring at the machine and thought, oh my god, that 12-year-old boy is lost. I better go help him. So he gave me his card. This story should just absolve reverse racism because hashtag not all white men. He really came in clutch. I mean, I was gonna buy it anyway, but I really appreciated that he saved me €4. What a good Samaritan. Another stray observation that I wanna make is that I am such a fucking good tourist photographer. There were so many other tourists that asked me to take their pictures because when you see a person by themselves, you think, oh hey, that person has no loved ones, so they definitely have the time to take my picture, and it's true. But I feel like they don't even know what they're getting into because I make sure to get the horizontal orientation and then flip it to the vertical orientation. And not only that, when I take a picture, I bend on my knees to get that downward angle. Usually when they ask for a photo is because they want to stand in front of some monument. When you get the downward angle, you show both the tourists and the whole monument behind them, and it's in this really cool cinematic kind of angle that just looks good. I'm just saying, I think that whenever a tourist asks me to take their picture, they've hit the fucking jackpot. Like these group of girls came up to me and they were like, excusez-moi, could you please take the picture? And I'm like, yeah, sure, dude, I fucking got you. First of all, we cannot be taking a picture here because the sun is literally shining behind your back, so you're gonna be dark as fuck. Let's go over to this area where the sun is shining directly at you and you're in the center of the monument. Literally, the girl was like, you are so smart, oh my god. So then the group all goes to the center of the monument where I place them, and I get all these amazing angles, and then they all look at it, they're like, oh my god, it's so good. And I'm like, that's right, bitch, that's how you do art directing. I kind of had this weird moment when I was leaving the Belem Tower and I stopped in front of it and gazed out into the waves that were crashing. I let my mind wander for a little bit, and I was thinking about this story that I plan on publishing one day. Next year, 2020, I will go back to a story that I wrote a couple years ago, and I will try to refine it into something that is hopefully publishable. So I've been thinking about this story every now and then, and I was thinking about this particular scene. The main character has to physically and metaphorically let go of the other character, but before that, she says, I love you and I always will. The other character tells her, I wish you loved yourself as much as you love others. And I don't know why I thought of this scene and got so caught up in this scene, but I started fucking feeling it, and I was just staring into the ocean, and I was thinking am I fucking tearing up? I don't know, it was weird. The ocean got me feeling sentimental and shit. And then I started thinking about all of these other scenes that I want to write for this book, and I jotted it down in my phone notes about specific dialogue that I want them to say or specific things that I want them to think about. When you have a story in your mind, it becomes so much more fun to observe the world around you because you're thinking about the characters in context to that, and you're imagining scenes in the area that you're in. So it's really nice to explore a new place, especially a new scenic place, and just have that as inspiration for you because it lets your mind wander and you're able to break out of your routine. I'm gonna try to kind of normalize my schedule and balance out my shit. Day 1 of Lisbon is complete. Let's see if we can survive day 2. Good night. It is almost 2 p.m. right now, and I just got up about half an hour ago. I was supposed to wake up at 10 a.m. and go to a museum, but I decided to sleep in, and you know what? I don't regret it because I really feel like I needed the sleep. These are leftovers from last night. Just in case I'm getting sick, I am drinking Emergency because my nose is still sniffly and my throat still feels kind of weird, but I can't tell if it's allergies or not, so I figured
better safe than sorry. Knowing my luck, I probably am getting sick, so I'm trying to combat that as much as possible. I still want to try to see one more museum before my museum card expires though. I saw from pictures that the National Palace has a lot of red wallpaper and just royal aesthetic kind of looking interiors. So for the sake of possible bookstagram opportunities, I am bringing girls a paper and fire and 1,000 beginnings and endings to see if there are any nice scenes where I can take a picture there. And then after I visit the palace, I am going to a tattoo shop to get a tattoo on my upper arm. This will be my first ever tattoo, and I only scheduled it because there was a gap in my schedule. I had nothing else to do with it, so I was like, okay, let's just get a tattoo. It could be like a souvenir from the trip. I don't know what the tattoo will be about. All I did was send references to the tattoo artist of previous work that I liked by him, and I said that I wanted some traditional line art. He's gonna draw something customized and he will show it to me when I arrive to his shop. Is this spontaneous? I'm not sure. Is this something that I should be doing spontaneously? You know, I don't mind. I guess we'll see. You know how my luck goes. It's most likely gonna be something to do with hands and flowers because those are the subjects of the references I sent him. After that, I'm going to the LX Factory, which I believe is a marketplace or some artist's galley. Obviously, I'll be filming everything so you guys will see as well. So I'm gonna try to fuel up and then I will bring you along with me.
Are you sick of me? Would you like to be? I'm trying to tell you something. Something that I already said. You like the pretty boy with a pretty voice who's trying to sell you something. Something that you already have. But if you're too drunk to drive and the music is right, she might let you stay, but just for the night. And if she grabs her your hair and drags you along, she might wanna kiss before the end of the song. Because love can burn like a cigarette and leave you with nothing, and leave you with nothing. While the others talk, we were listening to lovers rock in her bedroom, in her bedroom. And if you start to kiss and the record skips, flip it over and sit a little closer. But if you're too drunk to drive and the music is right, she might let you stay, but just for the night. And if she grabs her your hair and drags you along, she might wanna kiss before the end of the song. Because love can burn like a cigarette and leave you with nothing, and leave you with nothing.
Now, how many minutes?
Very few.
You offered me a kiss. Why?
Such a foolish reason, I'm afraid. I just wanted to kiss you.
It's almost midnight right now. I got home a lot later than I expected, but I had a really good day today, and it's amazing to see how much your mood can improve just by getting enough sleep, because I actually could enjoy the things that I saw and did today instead of just being consumed by how tired I am. The palace this morning was amazing. My museum card actually expired before I arrived to the palace because when I scanned the card, the machine told me that it was declined. So you know what I did? I just walked straight into the palace anyway, looking like I belonged there. Right in front of the dude that was working there, and nobody stopped me because the trick is to appear confident. So you could say that I basically infiltrated a palace. I'm like Six of Crows up in this bitch. If you are a big fan of fantasy, then I highly recommend visiting any country in Europe and getting their museum passes, because that pretty much guarantees you access to all of the castles and palaces that they have there. And I think any fantasy reader would really enjoy seeing the grandness of the interiors and the architecture. I don't know if this is something that like regular people would like, but I think it's really fun to visit those things. After the palace, I had to go to my tattoo appointment, but my transportation ran out of euros because I didn't have a chance to recharge my card. Fortunately, I came in clutch by bringing a coin purse from my last trip to Sweden where I had leftover euros. So I had, I think, 3 euros and 20 cents left, and the bus fare was 2 euros, so it was perfect. That's life hack number 2. Life hack number 3 is that I carried an umbrella with me. This was a free umbrella that I got from the WeWork office when I went to their studio tour. I was actually debating before leaving New York on whether I should leave this umbrella behind because I knew it wasn't gonna rain at all in Lisbon, but I'm so glad I brought it because this is basically letting me be your typical Asian old lady and use this as a sun umbrella, which is so useful because ain't nobody trying to get a tan over here. It was so nice being able to block the sun while I was walking around trying to catch the bus. And now that I have a tattoo and I'm supposed to leave it out of the sun, this is especially useful because now I don't have to try to wear a jacket in 90-degree weather to cover it up. I just feel like I was so full of smart life hacks today, and this really goes to show how much better my brain is when I have enough sleep. It feels good to be an actual functional human being. As you can see, I got my tattoo. The tattoo didn't really hurt at all. I would say on a scale 1 to 10, it was like a 3, but I just read a book while he did the job. Actually, when he was doing my tattoo, I was staring at the other tattoo art that was on the wall, and I saw this one tattoo of a knife with some letters swirling around it, and I asked the tattoo artist if getting a tattoo that has letters on it increases the chances of it smudging. And he said no, there wouldn't be a problem with that as long as the ink is not too close to each other, and if the letters are a good size, then it's pretty much the same as just getting like a regular line art drawing. Once I realized that, I just kept on thinking, I could totally get a Six of Crows tattoo. I held myself back from getting one because I thought getting text tattooed onto your skin makes it easier to smudge, especially when, you know, like my arm is basically like a stick. But the tattoo artist reassured me that like a good artist will let you know if something is too small or not. I wish I could have gotten a tattoo of Six of Crows because it could have been like Inez's dagger that she always carries, and it could have said no mourners, no funerals. So I wanted to get a second tattoo right away, but then I was like, no, stop it. You just got your first one, so chill out. I wish this one actually had more significance now, and I was thinking about how I could make it significant. My solution is that even though I decided to get this tattoo just for the aesthetic without any meaning, I am going to try to put meaning onto it. Because for the second draft of my novel that I'm gonna finally be working on again next year, there is potential for me to create something symbolic out of a visual of a woman's hand holding a bouquet of flowers. I'm not gonna say what it is exactly. All I'm gonna say is this tattoo will now become a prophecy, so that if you read the book someday, you'll see that scene where she's holding these specific flowers and you'll be like, holy shit, Cindy got a tattoo of that like several years ago. While I was getting the tattoo, I started A Thousand Beginnings and Endings, which is an anthology fantasy story inspired by Asian mythology. I started that one because I didn't bring The Astonishing Color of After with me. I have read the first 3 or 4 stories. So far, I think it's okay. My favorite one is the one where the main character's father is an android. I forget the name, but if you've read it, you know what I mean. So I thought it was interesting that this author had used an old Asian myth and updated it to be more futuristic and sci-fi. I went to the LX Factory. I think it might be my favorite activity so far in Lisbon. I just love having an area where I can just stroll through and enjoy the public art there and see all the different restaurants that all look really trendy and chic and have really nice interior design. And then there's also art stores too. So it was just a lot of different interesting, well-curated things put together in one area. It's definitely the kind of area that would be perfect for nightlife because it has a whole range of activities that you can participate in. So I really enjoyed it, and that's why I stayed out a little bit later.